Hello and welcome to my channel, Kuromos here. Today I am bringing you the Eldritch Blaster Wizard, an Evocation Wizard specialized in Eldritch Blast, magic missiles, scorching ray and other evocation magic. If you love to destroy your enemies with powerful spells or a barrage of projectiles, then this build is for you. With this character, while we will be competitive from the beginning, it will really have a great power spike in the late game. To have a better early game, we will start with a single level in Fighter. We get access to all weapons, armors and shields, so we are a little bit more resilient. We also get proficiency in Constitution, so we can maintain concentration better with some of our spells. After 2 levels into Wizard, we choose to specialize in Evocation Magic. Now our area spells will not hurt us or our allies. At character level 5, we will get our first feat. By selecting the feat Spell Sniper, we not only get the Eldritch Blast cantrip from the Warlock class, but we get to use our intelligence for the attack rolls. This is important since we are an intelligence-based caster. At level 7 we get our second and last level in Fighter, to get access to Action Surge. This allows some interesting combos like Hold Person plus Scorching Rays. If we cast the rays from 3 meters or less, all hits will hit and it will be guaranteed criticals, burning down our target to a crisp. The rest of the build we will continue as a wizard, getting powerful spells and improvements along the way. Kindly read the description of this video to understand my thought process and some considerations for these guides. Also, click the button down below to support my content. Without delay, let's begin. So we will start our journey as a fighter. We get second wind, so we can heal once as a bonus action. For our fighting style we will choose defense, since most likely we will not be attacking anyone, hopefully. And for our ability points, we are going to focus mostly on Constitution and Intelligence with a little bit of Dexterity. You can also go Dexterity 16 and Constitution 14 if you want to utilize any finesse weapon in the early game. At level 2 we will multiclass into Wizard. The only important thing here to consider is make sure you have the light cantrip, as it is mandatory later for some combo that we're going to do with some items. We get to choose level 1 spells. As a wizard you're going to have a lot of variety, and do not be afraid to make any mistake, because you can learn new spells through scrolls that you find throughout the game, so feel free to experiment. At Wizard level 2 we get to choose our Evocation subclass. This way we have sculpt spells that will make that area of effects will not affect us or our allies. For example, later on you can cast Fireball and you will be unaffected. On the next step we get to choose level 2 Wizard spells. Hold Person is going to be a great choice later on, as well as Scorch Ray. But for the time we're going to get Misty Step to help us reposition on the battlefield. At level 4 we get Hold Person and Shatter. Keep in mind Shatter is an evocation spell, so we can greatly benefit from it. We also get a cantrip and our first feat. That is going to be Spell Sniper. This will increase our threat range by 1 with spells. Instead of a 20 on an attack roll, we will require a 19 or a 20. And on top of that we get to select a cantrip that is going to be Eldritch Blast. By obtaining it throughout this feat, it will utilize our intelligence instead of charisma. That is what we will normally use if we, for example, multiclass into Warlock. At this point, at character level 5, all cantrip damage will improve. In case of the Eldritch Blast, it will get an additional beam. At Wizard level 5 we also get our third level spells. I decide to go with Fireball and Haste. At this point I decide to get the second and last level in Fighter, since we already have a wide variety of spells as a wizard. At character level 8 we will get Wizard level 6, and here we get another interesting passive. It is called Potent Cantrip, and basically when the enemies succeed on the saving throw, they will still take half damage. At this point Firewall is one of my favorite evocation spells, but there are other great choices as well. And on our next level we get to choose another 2 spells. I'm going to go with Ice Storm, as it is also a spell from our school. And then the second one we can go with Polymorph. You have Stone Skin if you want to be more in the front line. And we get to choose our second feat, that is going to be Intelligence. At this point the build is almost complete. We get to choose 4 level 5 spells, and we also will get the final passive at level 10, Empowered Evocation. This will add our intelligence damage to our spells. But the interesting part is it will apply to each projectile individually. So this will work with our cantrip Eldritch Blast. It is going to work with magic missiles and scorching rays. Now there are some items that are vital to make this build work a little bit better. To make the video not too long, I will just mention the items and what they do, and you can find the links to the items in the comment section. The first one is the amulet, that it will add an additional projectile every time we cast magic missile. The second one is coruscation ring, that will inflict radiating ore. We must be illuminated for this to work. That's the reason why we chose the light cantrip, so we must make sure we have it casted on us. The third one is the Callous Glow ring, that will inflict 2 radiant damage to illuminated creatures. So this will stack with each missile, Eldritch Blast or Scorching Ray that we cast. Before showing you the last item, I recorded this combat twice. The first one I used haste on myself and the combat was extremely short. This is the one you're watching now in the background. And I will explain the second one since it is a little bit long. The last item is Gloves of Belligerent Skies. These will let us inflict reverberation on enemies where we inflict radiant damage. So after having 5 applications of radiant damage, then the enemy will have to succeed a saving throw or become prone. Since we're going to cast a lot of missiles, this will trigger on the same turn. So for this combat I use Misty Step to bait the counterspell out, and then I proceed to cast magic missiles. I use Action Surge to get an additional cast and finish off the sorcerer. The dwarf succeeds on his saving throw for reverberation because he's boring, but otherwise he would have been knocked prone. Currently my armor class is 23, with haste becomes 25, and if we proc the shield spell it will be a total of 30 for the remaining of the turn, so I'm actually quite hard to hit. And to finish the enemies off, I just cast a fireball on myself. I will not suffer fire damage. And the last 2 guys I just sweep them off with a magic missile. Now for the replay of this combat I'm just going to add some fragments that show how I cast different spells. The first one is the Eldritch Blast. It does formidable damage with this build and it is great if we want to save spells. Very consistent damage, as you can see. Second thing we can do, for example, is we are immune to our own firewall. This is great because usually it's a spell that is a little bit difficult to cast. So like this we are completely unharmed. From what I see we still get some damage from the rings, but that's alright. At this moment, when the enemies move inside the wall of fire, they will get damage, so make sure to use some knockback effects for maximum damage. The last combo I want to demonstrate is Hold Person. We can upcast it to target multiple foes. Unfortunately, the other one is behind the wall, so I'm unable to, but I decide to just hold person on this guy and then move away. By getting within 3 meters, my hits are guaranteed crits. And that will be all for today. Let me know in the comments what do you think, or just come to say hi. And as usual, thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video. Adios!